Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists, and this time we have on Ben, who is bringing a true Draco list in 2019. Now this is very much mirrored on some of the options that we've seen from 2018 actually, with a few changes in the main side. And before we get on to the full interview, because we are having Ben on to discuss this, I'm just going to run through the sort of matchups and deciding strategy that he sent over. So he played, 7 rounds I think? So round 1 against Quincy Striker, went 2-0, winning the die roll and opening Imperial Order, and then game 2 using Evenly. Round 2 against Mech Knight Invoked, going 1-2 here actually, losing the die roll made to go first, flipping anti-spell and just controlling the game in game 1. In game 2, banishing all of the Draco monsters apart from Maiden off her Desires is a bit unfortunate. And game 3, the opponent opened Twin Twister and Ash the Demise, so that's very strong and takes the game. So moving into round 3, 2-0 here, Pendulum. Ben won the die roll and drew like 9 cards, summoned Border and Dynamite, flipped anti-spell and then just won. Game 2, the opponent tried to scale the Time Gazer while they controlled Electromite and proceeded to have their entire board cleared from there and lost. And then round 4 against Weather Painter, 2-1. Ben won the die roll, had a very grindy back and forth game, shuffling back Disciples, he says at least 6 times to grind out to a win. Game 2 he was blown out by an Evenly, and in game 3 Inspector Border just won that one entirely. Round 5 against Trickstar, going 2-0, winning the die roll and opening Dynamite step 4. The opponent normal summoned Candina and he just flipped There Can Be Only One and the game was over from there. Game 2 was very grindy, but he just shuffled back Disciples over and over until he won basically. And then round 6 against Dinosaur, going 0-2 here, losing to Extol Knight in game 1, and then in game 2 not opening a single Draco monster makes the match very difficult. And final round, round 7 against Zephyr Striker and Endymion. It's a pretty interesting combination here. Going 2-1, winning the die roll, flipping Fragrance and Skill Drain after drawing like 8 cards in game 1, and then in game 2 the opponent ended on the Metaltron, Dweller, Phoenix, and the Zephyr Trap, so impossible to break the board from there. So into game 3, Ben was able to just flip Macro on the Dragon Shrine and then Skill Drain the Harmonizing Magician on the Pendulum Summon, broke the scales, and then flipped Anti-Spell. So pretty much a free win against any Pendulum deck really with this. For the siding strategy, for Striker going first no changes, going second Evenly's come in for the 2 There Can Be Only One and 1 Maiden. For Pendulum going first no changes, but going second siding out the 3rd Maiden and the Erupts for 3 Sphere Mode and a Judgment, which is fairly standard, you have to be able to out that board. Against Dinosaur there were no changes, against Mech Knight Invoked, no changes going first but going second, anti-spells come out for Lanciers, and against Weather Painter, sided in Lanciers going first and second in exchange for the Fragrance. And he said it was a very good event overall, finishing in 12th place. Let's bring on Ben to have a chat about his list. Congratulations on top 8 with True Draco. I mean, if congratulations should be said for True Draco.
It's easy enough.
Yeah, so this list actually really reminds me of the kind of thing we saw last year.
Yeah.
Obviously the side has changed up quite a lot. But...
Yeah, it's completely inspired by last year. Like, the thing is, the deck doesn't have to change, because the format entirely, as a whole, just loses to it.
Yeah, it's true. And like, so much of the format is built to sort of like, to beat monster-based decks, to spam out like extra deck prevention, to play hand traps, and all this stuff is just like totally irrelevant versus Draco.
Yeah. You just win game 1 all the time.
Yeah.
I only lost 1 game 1 all tournament, and it's because Desires is a really bad card apparently.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So you banished all of your Draco monsters except 1 Maiden.
Yep, except a singular copy of Maiden, and a singular copy of Maiden doesn't get you there.
No,
to be honest.
Not. I mean, I imagine it would be alright if you could, like, draw into your borders and stuff.
Oh, I had 1 border left in my deck as well.
Yeah, and even then, like, it's trapped in the deck because you can't search it off the diagram, so...
Yeah, it's literally like, you can draw all the draw power cards in the deck, but the thing is, like, if it's a 1 of in your, well, your deck's now at, like, what, 23 cards? It's still like a 1 in 23 chance to draw it, and I'm sat there with a singular magic amazing, like...
Yeah. Just hoping that every turn when you draw, like, 3 or 4 cards or something, you see it and it never happens.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the sort of build that you went for. So first off, I'm going to ask why you went for Inspector Border instead of a Mono Iwate.
Inspector Border is a floodgate against Salamander. If you go first, you can normal summon it and inherently win the game.
Yeah, solid.
Like, genuinely, if you play against Salamangre and you're able to normal summon Inspector Border, or like, same way I did it against like the Mech Knight Invoke player, but like in my matchups, you can literally just normal summon that card and inherently win the game turn one. It's so ridiculous.
So you're just trying to make things as free as possible, basically, right?
But that's how Draco should play right now. Like, if you go second, you break their board with the spells and traps, and then if you go first, you just lock them out of the game, and it's all ridiculously free. Because no deck's prepared for it.
It's true, it's true. I mean, now we've started seeing people, because of the Mystic Mind deck being a problem, we've started to see people like maining a few copies of Spell and Trap removal. But they're always super reliant on the fact that the game takes many turns in that matchup, so they just like eventually draw into like a Cyclone or something, and get rid of the mine. Whereas against Draco, there's no way that the game lasts that long.
Well, yeah, you have bigger beaters than they have burn cards. I'm pretty sure I won a decent, sort of like 80% of my games because I was smacking somebody in the face with a 2-8 vanilla. Like, you literally just play Caveman Yu-Gi-Oh! The entirety of every game you play. It's so good.
So for actually limiting your opponent's plays, you've got, what, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10 Floodgates in the main?
Yeah.
Is that enough?
I don't know. Depends how popular the mirror gets. If the mirror gets more popular, I actually want to play Macrocosmos in the main deck.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting one, actually, because obviously you hit all of the Salamangre and Orcust players, which is a large portion of the field. Quite a lot of the other decks do rely on their graveyard.
Yeah. But the thing is, it has implication in the mirror, so if you play the mirror match, if you go first, you're, like, the idea of winning the Draco mirror is you make the other Draco player go first.
Yeah.
And you single-handedly pick apart their board because none of your floodgates work, and none of the cards you're siding are for the mirror, other than evenly matched, per se. But, like, you single-handedly break apart their board with your spells and traps and eventually kill them, and it's a really long, drawn-out game, and it's the only interaction you ever have in a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! With Draco.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you play Macrocosmos and you draw that one of, same reason I played the Solemn Warning and stuff on the side, their spells and traps can't kill your stuff because they get banished.
Yep.
So you inherently win the mirror by flipping Macrocosmos because you've set up the board and they have to play through Macro, and their spells and traps don't go to the grave, so Heritage doesn't let them draw, and they don't draw off Cycles.
Yeah.
And you already have your stuff in grave anyway, and it just flat out wins the mirror, and I didn't play against a single mirror, so the card was relatively pointless.
Yeah, but I mean, if you had gone against the mirror, it would have been good utility, so...
There was 7 there. There was 7 Draco.
How many players were there?
I believe it was 84, 85?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you had a pretty good chance of seeing them, actually. I guess they didn't do so well. Or maybe they did even better.
There was one that got 4th place.
Oh, nice.
And then there was one that was like top tables. I think he got top 32 around that area.
Yeah.
But they got paired against each other, and I just didn't get paired against anything that I thought I was going to get paired against. I just felt like lots of Pendulum Magician.
Which is really free.
I was maining Anti-Spell for Striker, but I inherently just like beat Pendulum Magician anyway.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
One thing I did want to ask about for the main deck is you didn't run any copies of Duality. Was that because you're playing the Anti-Spell in the order, or was there another reason?
Yeah. So, like, because I wanted to play Anti-Spell in order, I feel like minimizing the amount of, like, draw cards that I actually played was fine. because you inherently play 3 Demise, 3 Heritage, and 3 Disciples.
Yeah.
And going first, I aim to resolve Disciples, resolve Heritage for 2 every time.
Yeah.
And I feel like Desires is slightly better, despite my bad experience with twice. But Desires puts you further ahead than Duality does. Duality digs Desires, puts you further ahead. And I didn't draw Desires off of Desires all day.
Well,
So, I potted Neg 9 Lamel. But, nah, I just feel like Desires is better than Duality and Draco right now. And I still stand by that.
No, I think that's understandable. It's like, I mean, it is a +1, and it has so little, like, limitation, and it reveals so little to your opponent.
Oh, and it's Ash Bay as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, straight up. It, like, the amount of people that ashed my Desires, and then I just went, Demise for 3, and they were like, oh, should I save that?
Yeah.
Like, not my fault.
It's even better when they ash your Desires while you have a Draco monster up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Ignis was really broken all day.
Yeah.
Like, Ignis in a sense is better than Dynamite right now, especially in my list because it gets you to Heritage and Disciples. And because I don't play Duality, it's nice to have that cycle with Disciples, because Disciples and Disciples and Disciples, and you just eventually grind them out.
Yeah.
Because every deck runs out of steam eventually. Like, Striker runs out of steam super hard because they only have 1 Kagari.
Yeah.
Salamangre will eventually lose to your Floodgates once they, like, if you don't brick, you beat them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just Ignis is stronger going second as well, obviously.
Yeah.
You get to search the spell and then additional normal summon and all the campy stuff.
Yeah. It's really strong. Okay, let's look a bit more into the side deck then. So I'm going to skip over Lancia because it's, like, super standard.
Yep.
And Sphere Mode 2 is also like you're playing a deck where you have additional normal summons, and it just beats a lot of the harder matchups. But let's take a look at Crackdown. So obviously, this is pretty new in terms of it just being released, basically. And it's a continuous trap, so you contribute it if you need to, but otherwise it's basically Widow Anchor.
The reason I played Crackdown was Striker going first, or Salamangre going first, because you can say a Salamangre player goes normal summon Spinny and you just rob it off them their turn ends.
Yeah, it's true.
And you just steal a Striker Link and their turn ends. It's like, it's a good card. I just don't think it's warrantable in the main deck at the moment. I think Draco's got better tools at its disposal than Crackdown. It's really good in specifically those 2 matchups, and it's okay in the mirror as well.
Yeah. It's
another card to slide in for the mirror anyway.
Yeah. Are there any other matchups where you see it having applicability, or is it just not relevant for those?
No, it's specifically those 2, I think. Orcust, you can steal Bardiche before they set up their double Widow Anchor, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or you can steal Galatea when they make Galatea, which is probably the better thing, but you inherently beat those decks with the Floodgates you play anyway, so just...
No point setting it then.
The thing is with Draco is, it doesn't matter how good your opponent is, or how well either of you side, it's what the Draco player does. You're playing at the Draco player's tempo.
Yeah.
You're playing at their pace the entire game, and you will eventually just lose to some form of dumb trap card. I felt soulless all day, just flipping Floodgates, and yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, the side deck for Draco is literally irrelevant outside of evenly the Striker and Sphere Mode, Pendulum, and then Lancia for Orcust. The rest of the cards can play whatever you want, which is why I sided for the mirror itself.
Yeah.
Also considered Heavy Storm Duster as well, because I kind of consider Autogeist a weird, iffy matchup.
Yeah.
But there was only one Autogeist in the room, and I didn't bump into him, so it's fine.
Well, I guess that is a weird one, because, I mean, already 4 of your Floodgates don't do anything in that matchup.
Yeah.
There can be only ones are probably the strongest, actually.
Oh yeah, you flip back and only one on multi-figure and you lose.
Yeah.
But they have Melee-Seek, so...
Yeah, it's true.
The problem with Altergeist is Melee-Seek is a really, really powerful card, so they can constantly out. There can only be one, which is really, really, really good Floodgate against them.
Yeah.
So, like, I was going to opt to play Dusters specifically for that matchup, but if it's not going to be relevant, like moving towards Nats and stuff, then
then there's no point testing something that you're not going to be playing outright.
I mean, how many Autogeist players do you think are going to be at Nationals?
Just you wait, Ollie's going to build up the Hype Train.
Oh yeah, probably. I might play it myself.
Yeah, I'm genuinely considering it too. It's so bad.
At least that deck has some form of interaction other than I activate Ignis.
Hey, Ignis is a very interactive card.
Yeah, sure.
Interacts with your opponent's life points.
Yeah, that way. Like, hitting people for 2/7s free.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the sort of deck in its entirety. Is there anything about the build you would want to change?
I want to main deck Macrocosmos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Macrocosmos is worth main decking. And obviously there's the argument of desires versus duality and all that good stuff, but I probably won't play the deck again, but if I'm recommending to anybody else, try and main deck Macro and find room for Solemn Judgment somewhere.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just standard Draco. There's nothing special about it. Like,
just you wait, somebody's going to come on with a really spicy build.
Yeah, I guess people might start playing Mariamne again, the wind something. But I saw a guy at the event playing Mariamne, which I thought was really cool. But then he got 2-0'd twice by Pendulum.
Oh, okay, that's rough.
The two Pendulum players I beat, he got 2-0'd by. So, avenged my Draco brethren. But he was playing, like, nowhere near as many Floodgates, and I think that you have to sacrifice Floodgates to play Spice in Draco.
Yep.
I just don't think it's worth sacrificing the good cards in the deck for slightly mediocre stuff that allows you to do a Draco combo, other than Tribute Disciples, the Maiden, activate Heritage, draw 1, play Diagram.
Powerful combo there. Advantage.
It's a combo deck. People don't know.
It's just quite a slow combo deck. Cool.
Oh, another card for the side deck, actually. For Crackdown, I might consider swapping out Call by the Group if Droll gets more popular.
Yeah.
Because Droll was quite popular yesterday for some reason.
Yeah, that's
because
weird.
a lot of people decided to Droll against me, and I was like, that really hurts. So I might consider siding Call by the Group because it's a technical crap card anyway.
Yeah. And you have the
but
nice...
you hard lose to Droll a lot better.
Yeah. And you have the interesting interaction with, if you're just trying to use it to banish some random resource, you can always use Diagram on your Call by.
Yeah, exactly. You can you can use Diagram and Call by, and then you can chain it, right? It's set the previous turn and still the Diagram still resolves. Yeah, I didn't do that all day. I'm not that complex for the
Well, I don't think you don't have any quick play spells, right? So.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I built the deck, sat at the table about 5 minutes before registration, because I was going to play Battery Manager, okay, like I shit you not. And then I was like, nah, I'll play something proper. It's like turned to Adam, and he gave me this pile of Draco stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just Dracos and Floodgates, and I went, sure, smacked it all together, wrote it down on the deck list. Handed it in.
You know, if you played the Battery Man deck, you would have got first.
Don't tempt me, man. Nationals is coming up. I got it sat with me. Battery Man deck for a fucking guarantee.
Cool.
I put the core up for like a tenner. So.
Oh, nice. 3 wins, right? Nobody knows what it does. It's fine. Secretly August.
I like to hear. Yeah. Let's not talk about all this.
Sure.
That's a really bad matchup for Battery Man.
So that's the list. You got any shoutouts you'd like to make?
Just a shout out to the Hobby Vault again, the locals I go to, the sponsor. Shout out to Adam for literally lending me every card I played. Literally every card I played. Except for the evenly matched, which I borrowed off my friend Gavin.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gavin for the lift up there, yeah. And shout out to the Yu-Gi-Oh community in general, just listening to people like us on a day-to-day basis.
What are they doing
Nice
with
to
their
have
lives?
people. Yeah, well, to be fair, like, without people like them, we wouldn't be able to make content like this.
Well, exactly.
But
exactly. It's always
Yeah.
great to have their support.
Yeah.
And have your support as well for coming on and sharing your list.
Oh yeah, there'll be a more in-depth profile on my channel discussing theory and stuff.
Okay, yeah, send me a link. I'll put it in the description of this video.
Yeah,
And, people can check it out.
Yeah, I'll make the profile after work tonight, and we'll go from there.
Of course. Nice. All right. Well, thanks very much for coming on. Congratulations with your top, although it was with True Draco.
It's not a topic, it's True Draco.
It's just
making everybody sad.
Oh no. Well, at least you got some enjoyment out of it.
Oh yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming on, and
No
see you again
problem
in
at
the
all.
future.
Have a good day, man.
Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.